Something that's been on my heart because I realize that now that I'm a parent, even when your child becomes an adult, you realize you never actually stop worrying about the child. All right, you never stop worrying about the child because you're wondering, will they accomplish the goals that they had set out? Are they prospering? If you see your child. Welcome back to my channel. This is Lizzie Everyday Living. Today I'm here to touch on a topic that has been on my mind for the past few days, and it's about parenting. All right, whether you have one child, you have two children, you have how many, as a parent you're always worrying about your child. From you have true love for your child, you're always worrying, will my child accomplish what they want in life? Have I given my child, for example, the right guidance? Going back to maybe when my child was choosing careers, did I give my child the best advice? So I'm kind of doing some introspection and really thinking about the fact that maybe I had forced my child into a career, into a path that he possibly might not have wanted to go. And the problem is, if you have a child and the child is not passionate about a specific career field, you're going to find that they're going to struggle. And it kind of brought me back to the time when I had just left high school. And if some of you guys, you subscribe to my channel, you'd have seen a previous video about when I left high school. And trust me, I was just going through a very confusing period, and I didn't know what career path to choose. And my dad said, one, either choose to become a teacher or you can go and learn dressmaking. Of course, I chose the first option. And at the time I didn't see how valuable that would have been and how important, because what he did was to set that pathway for me so that I can at least be able to a career that at least it's satisfactory, and you can feel that sense of achievement. And slowly my parents could have let go of my hand, and I could go out there on my own, and I could try, I could have a family. And it's like it makes me realize now how worried they were about me back then. Because you think about it, your child is like your heart outside of your chest. Yeah, like your outside heart. And even if we're not talking about career, and say for example we're talking about when your child reach the age, like maybe they are 21, 22, 23, and they're ready to move out on their own. Yes, you have to let them go out there and experience life, what it is like to pay their own bills and make their own decision. And I was just thinking that personally for me, my child has reached that stage when he's now thinking about going out on his own. And I don't know, I know that I need to let go, and I need to let him go out there and experience life for himself. But guys, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it because it's not easy. And I can even remember when I was growing up, and sometimes I would go out and come back in late. And I remember when I had this friend, and my mom used to say, make sure you carry home by 10 o'clock, because I used to start coming home late. I was in my late teens, of course, but it kind of just clicked, and it made me realize how much, when you bring a child into this world, it's like the love that you have for them is so intense. If you're a good parent, you just find that you want them to. Yes, so you always want to see them come back home safely. you always want to make sure that at least when they're out there on their own and they're living on their own, you know, that they are safe and that they are not struggling and that they are living happy lives. And you know, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this. What is your advice on this? Of course, I remember when he was like about 4 or 5 years old, and you know, that little child, that you know, going into getting ready to go into primary school, you know, 5, 6, 7 year old, they're going to grow up because nobody gets younger every day. We all grow up. And the other day I had a conversation with my mom, and I said to her, Mom, like how we're growing now, because I think my youngest brother is about 38, 39 years old. And I said to her, I remember when we were growing up, you know, you never used to worry about us a lot. And she said, yes, even now, because my eldest brother still lives at home. And you know, sometimes it's good to have at least one child around your parents when everybody else grow up and go off. You know, at least the parents all know, so they are older, so it's good to have a younger sibling at home with them. And she said, yeah, even sometime when my brother, you know, he goes out, and you know, she worried until she sees him come back home, much less the rest of us who, you know, live far and wide. So I suppose a parent will always be a parent, in the sense that you know, you're always gonna worry about your child, but you just have to let them grow up. It's just something that I am kind of struggling with right now. And yeah, but you know, you just have to allow them to go out there and to, you know, make their own mistakes and pave their own way. And you know, making sure that, you know, you're growing them in such a way that they can one day become independent and self-sufficient. But I suppose as a parent we'll always worry, you know, and it's never easy. But yeah, guys, tell me if you feel the same way. And until next time, it's Lizzie Everyday Living. Thanks for watching. Bye.